Today I F up by forwarding my friend's message. Okay. The characters in this story include me, 16NB, my friend Carly, 17F, and my other friend Sandra, 18F. Sandra and Carly are not close but are on civil terms. I'm equally close with both of them. All the names are fake. Sandra and I had a lot of issues throughout our friendship. We met when I was 14 and she was 16, so I was a pretty immature kid and did a lot of stupid stuff to her. We had a few massive fights, and I didn't know how to handle my feelings about them, so I ended up forwarding our private conversations to a whole bunch of people, some friends, some acquaintances. Sandra confronted me about this when she found out, and ever since then I have been working hard to gain her trust back. I haven't forwarded a single message of hers to anyone since, until now. About 2 months ago, Sandra and I had a pretty huge fight, and it ended with her leaving a virtual choir that we were in together because she felt uncomfortable around me. She had texted the choir director saying that she left the group because I was making her uncomfortable. However, we ended up making up soon after, and she returned to the choir. We haven't had a fight since. For a bit of context, the choir has a 3-strike system. If you get 3 strikes, then you'll be kicked out. This is where Carly comes into the picture. She made a comment that made another choir member uncomfortable. This choir member also happens to be a close friend of mine. Carly frantically texted me, freaking out that she may have ended up on the choir strike system because of the comment she made. To make her feel better, I told her that I was probably also on the strike system due to my situation with Sandra, and that none of this was a big deal. We were all still in the choir, and things were peaceful now. Carly, who already knew about my fight with Sandra, asked me if Sandra had told the choir director about our fight and how I was making her uncomfortable. Out of instinct, I simply just forwarded Carly the message from Sandra where she told me about telling the choir director. Carly responded with, "Oh shit." I emphasized the message, turned off my phone, and went to bed. When I woke up this morning, the first thing I remembered was my conversation with Carly. I immediately realized that I had messed up, considering I had promised Sandra that I wouldn't forward her messages anymore, yet I had forwarded one to Carly anyway. I immediately told Sandra about the situation and apologized. I really hope she doesn't get mad at me since I didn't talk crap about Sandra to Carly. All I did was answer Carly's message about Sandra telling the choir director about our fight, but I'm still terrified because I could have explained that to Carly without forwarding the message. Well, I guess I'll find out later, when I actually muster up the courage to turn my phone back on. TLDR, I forwarded my friend's message after promising her that I would no longer do that, and now I'm scared she might hate me.
Today I F up by wrongly accusing someone of theft. I run a gaming center. 6 guys played for 3 hours. As I was closing the center at the end of the night, I realized a controller was missing. I checked my CCTV and noticed that the last person who used the controller had just placed it on the couch. It was a black controller on a black couch, so it was perfectly camouflaged in the CCTV footage. After the game, one of the 6 guys placed his bag on the couch and put his black water bottle in it. As he was doing this, another guy stood directly between him and the camera, so his movements weren't clearly visible. However, I saw him turn the bag, pick a small black object off the couch, and place it inside the bag. I immediately suspected that it was him. You have to understand that controller theft is quite common here. I've caught some 12 people in the last 6 months. That's why I collect IDs and contact numbers. I called the guy, but he didn't pick up. I tried 3 more times, and he hung up on me the last time. This led me to conclude that it was him. So I sent him a text explaining the situation and gave him time to call me back, or I would file a complaint with the police. He called me back and denied all my accusations. I thought he was lying, but he was so confident that it made me doubt myself. I felt extremely guilty, so I went back to the CCTV footage and reviewed everything for 5 more hours. Finally, I found the real culprit. I was devastated. The small object that the guy placed in his bag was a second smaller black water bottle. The guilt of wrongly accusing someone was unbearable. I explained everything in a text to him, apologizing profusely. The only text I received back was, "Bro, think twice before you blame someone." That was it. I apologized again, but there was no reply. Called, but he didn't pick up. I feel terrible about what I did. I jumped to conclusions and an innocent person got hurt. I can't forgive myself. TLDR. A controller went missing in my gaming center. My CCTV footage wasn't clear. Saw one guy place something in his bag. Jumped to conclusion that it was my controller. Confronted him over the call and he denied all my accusations. I reviewed the CCTV footages again for 5 hours and found the real culprit. Feeling extremely guilty now. Today I F up by letting my family manipulate me. Today I F up when yesterday, I know not today. I moved out of my apartment that I had been living in with my fiancée and telling her we were over. My mother and brother had breakfast with me the day of the breakup and told me that my fiancée was not right for me. I have been living with her for 8 months and have seen my family minimally because they live a couple hours away. Anyway, they kept telling me that I need to leave her because they claimed she was destroying my life, manipulating me, and not giving effort in the relationship. All to get to the point of me breaking up with her. I took my puppy from the apartment as well as all my possessions to my parents' house, where I left originally because I was tired of the way they treated me. I, 21M, moved out with my fiancée, 19F, to start our lives together, but now we are split up. I am living at my parents' house and she is living at the apartment. I went to have a conversation with my fiancée about moving forward and to bring up the things my family wanted me to talk with her about. Taking over my own phone plan and splitting from hers, splitting rent down the middle instead of our budget schedule, and getting her car key back because the car is loaned and registered in my name. She is an insured driver of it. This all came to a screeching halt when I realized that, whoa, I'm allowed to have my own thoughts and feelings, and I spoke with my fiancé that we need to take some time to process the last year we had been together and sort out some of our faults on our own time. We both want to be together and have worked hard together for everything we have, so we want to circle back to a fresh start to the relationship. My mother wants me to ignore my fiancé and to cut her off entirely as all my mother cares about is the money behind it. I still have great feelings for my fiancé, and I have so much ambition for our future. We do lift each other up as we are succeeding in college, and both work full-time jobs. I argue that we are doing well for our age, but I do not know how to take the next step. I want to sort things out with myself to come back better for my fiancé, but I do not want to be in the tyrannical home of my parents and be trapped mentally and emotionally by my family. I feel that if I choose to go live a good life with my fiancé, my family will shut me out and have a grudge against me for the rest of my life. The way I see it, I would prefer to improve and fight to live a happy life with my woman rather than try to please my family. I fucked up. TLDR. TIFU by breaking up with my fiancé after my family manipulated me into thinking she was bad for me. I now live separate from her, and we both want to improve to be a fantastic couple. I am in limbo because the moment I choose my fiancé is the moment I disconnect likely entirely from my family. Today I F up by leaving my phone in a taxi after an amazing date and losing all contact with her. Yesterday, I had an incredible date with a girl I recently met. We went to a small restaurant, talked for hours, walked a bit after dinner, and overall I felt a really strong connection with her. It was one of those nights where everything seems perfect. At the end of the night, I ordered a taxi to go home, and when I arrived, I was so excited and distracted by how well the date had gone that I got out of the car without checking if I had all my belongings. A few minutes later, at home, I realized I didn't have my phone. My world came crashing down. Everything, my photos, contacts, messages, and the way to stay in touch with her, was on that phone. I tried calling the number from another phone, but no one answered. I tried tracking the taxi, but it was too late. I felt helpless and extremely frustrated. TLDR. TIFU by leaving my phone in a taxi after an amazing date and losing all contact with her. Today I F up by forgetting to wash my hands after cleaning up jalapeños. My wife is trying to start an in-home bakery at the moment. I was in our kitchen trying to assist her in doing some cleanup after getting her dough mixed. This week's menu includes a jalapeno cheddar loaf. She had diced the peppers after scooping out the insides, and I was in the process of getting the seeds and membranes into the trash when one or more of our 5 kids, all under 10, got into something else. It's usually pretty chaotic at our house. Anyway, finished cleaning up the pepper guts and addressing the other immediate issues with the kids. Then, I decided to go use the restroom, so now I have a burning shaft. is tolerable and I would say about comparable to when some sneaks a bit of icy hot into your jockstrap, but I'm most definitely not having a good time. Always wash your hands after handling peppers. TLDR, if you don't wash your hands between handling chili peppers and using the restroom, you'll turn yourself into a fire crotch.
Big thanks to everyone who watched to the end. I really appreciate the support. And please hit the subscribe button.